Good morning. A shout out to the artist in recovery, Darryl P. Morning, dude. What's up? 4:48 in the morning, West Coast time. It's the 25th of September, 2024, a Wednesday, and who the hell is alive yet? Let alone awake yet, pal. Ugh. I'm in more dire need of having a back scratch than anything else this morning over here. You talk about having a need for chemical. I have a need for physical. And yeah, a few days ago, I did see that vid that you pulled out regarding the kid and the fentanyl. And there's been some feedback and pushback on that thing on the reels and the comments on that one. Some people just don't understand the damn disease, and believe me, we both understand the damn disease. I don't get the monetarization. That's why I can say it. But it's not uncommon for experimentation for different things just to get that pleasure center in our brains, our squishy brains, to start pumping out the chemicals that constantly make us feel good until to the point where we are addicted to the damn thing, and also where it's constantly on and it starts doing damage to our systems. There's a reason why the body tries to maintain a homeostasis, because the body can only stand the stress to a point, can only stand the pleasure to a point. Beyond that, the body can't deal with it, neither can the brain. But unfortunately, because we love it so much, it's not just a feeling in the euphoria, pal. As I wrote into your comment sections for this morning's vid, or actually in the other vid, pain relief. And not just physical. I had taken my fair share of prescriptions for pain relief. Workers' comp situation a long time ago. And this happened within the last 12, within the past 12 to 15 years. I had worked at retail hell. I know what it's like to deal with constant pain, but you still have to deal with it. I also know what it's like to deal with a constant headache and acid reflux on a daily basis, and I dealt with that at a younger age with a younger body. Just pop in a couple of Tylenol for the acid reflux. I did say Tums for that one. Tylenol for the headaches, because working retail hell is stressful enough anyway. I mean, I did that for 4 years. I'm surprised my body didn't try to kill me during that time. And it almost did. It almost did. If you notice the things crawling around, well, that's still bug war right now. It's never gone away, never going away. This place is infested too much. I gotta start looking for another place to live. Cockroaches are a physical manifestation, if you want to put it in metaphorical. I'm dealing with the cockroaches of my own damn disease and my own life and everything else crawling out of the woodworks. Hell of a way to put things into analogy, huh? But dealing with pain, it's not the physical pain that I could try dealing with. Sometimes it is a pain in the ass, and I have to. Or actually, it's a pain in the back I have to deal with on a constant basis. It hurts. It does. But I was trying to get to the point of the pain relievers I was using for my back because of a tire drop. I worked at the last job I worked at. I was working over at Retail Hell, Wally World, out here in the Antelope Valley. And first year I started off as a cashier. I fell on my bum because of black ice. That starts up the chain reaction for the physical stuff. But how about the spiritual and emotional? That's why I had to keep talking to people in the program because of the damn thing, because it was getting to me. But I needed to stick at the job because we needed the money. We needed the money. When you're working in a new job, it takes a while for you to get into it. It takes a while for the sync to get into it. S I, actually, it's SYNC. You got to be in. You got to be part of the system. You got to be part of it, not against it. Otherwise, you won't be able to work it. According to the theories I've been working under for a hell of a long while, when I was trying to kill myself at different jobs left and right. But once you get the rhythm and you get everything else working on the thing, and you feel like you're part of a system, then you're in sync and you're working, you're earning a paycheck, but it may mean that you're comfortable or not comfortable, or happy or not happy. As long as you're working with the company and you're not making any waves, according to the theory and feelings that I've learned throughout my life, there should be no issues, right? Wrong. Because every damn company is an issue. Every damn manager is an issue. Every damn job's an issue. Why? Because part of this thing is outside your realm, but the rest of it is all in here. And if you're not dealing with it, if you're not understanding how to adapt and maneuver and overcome those mental obstacles that you have inside, and believe me, there's a lot of them in there. It doesn't matter what you do on the outside. Major battles inside you for that one. Exploration of a way to get past the pain is a different thing altogether, because you want to, I don't know, what do you want? Do you want to be high all the time? You want to have that pleasure center turned on, that nothing else matters and all that feeling is just it? And there's always a heavy price to pay for that. There's always a heavy price because the body and the brain will tell you so. But we don't listen to it. We just want more because we want to get past the damn pain that whatever we've got setting up. That's what got us into the situation in the first place. We grew in pain. We are constantly evolving in pain. We wouldn't know what emotional highs are like unless we have little situations happening that'll give us the feeling, and then we crash down to earth and saying, okay, here's the reality. We got to deal with it. No, we want to feel this way all the time. I don't want to deal with the pain. That's the problem. We're dealing with pain on a constant basis. It doesn't matter if it's emotional, physical, or spiritual. We're dealing with the pain. As one quote from a funny movie a long time ago, life is pain. Yeah, Princess Bride. Love that movie. But there is pain. There's always pain. But there's always a way to get around it, too. And not just finding the new chemical fix that'll screw around with our damn pleasure centers until the point where we're practically killing our brains and our body. There are balances out there. There are techniques. One of them is what we're doing right now. Talking, communicating, getting this stuff off our chest. Getting it off of us, because if we don't, we continue to fester this thing inside. We're not going to find any solutions. We're going to be constantly doing the rat wheel race, not getting off the damn thing. We're constantly generating our own pleasure and misery at the same time. There was a non-chemical reaction in a body that I had taken under a doctor's prescription to get rid of the pain I actually had. And this came from a workers' comp accident I had. I had a tire drop on my face. It jarred the back and neck. Now, normally we have an S-curve in the spine. But part of that, part of the injury I had jerked extremely hard on the bones and on the muscle group on the lower back, not to mention the head and neck. I've been on a constant pain ever since. it flares up, and it immobilizes me a little bit. And then I have to deal with it. This morning, it's no difference because I still deal with the pain. I still grimace it. And if I can manage it inside without dealing with any drugs or chemicals or anything else, then I'm all right. I'm just functioning. But I've got a lot of emotional baggage coming up left and right that it matches the pain, and sometimes it just overwhelms it. The medications I'd taken was Tramadol and Motrin. Motrin you can get off the shelves. It's just basically uh, an inflammatory drug. It takes away the inflammation a bit, much like Tylenol does. If the body cannot deal with the chemical of acetaminophen, which is the Tylenol, then it has to deal with the Advil, which is the Motrin. An NSAID, they call it. But if the body can't deal with that, then you're stuck with aspirin. However, there's the drug called Tramadol. It's close to a narcotic as you can get without theoretically getting addicted to it, but you can get addicted to it. It just takes a long while for the body to build up to that point when you're taking it long enough. And it's a nerve blocker. Tramadol is a nerve blocker. It shuts off the communications in different portions of your nervous system that you're not feeling somebody pounding on your, or you're not feeling the. Say hello to the coffee. Hang on a second. There's something I wish they actually had an actual solution to. Caffeine, coffee, Java. Not the taste of it, but the effect of what caffeine does to a person. Elevates, heightens, and totally makes you addicted to the damn stuff. When you're addicted to caffeine, you need more and more of the damn stuff in your system. And it's legal. You take away the caffeine, and what do you got? Just a pleasurable taste of coffee. But unfortunately, we chase the caffeine effect when we drink our coffee. People have been doing reports and studies for decades on how coffee is supposed to be this and coffee is supposed to be that, and oh hell, the almighty coffee. It's actually all hell the mighty caffeine effect. We deal with a world of caffeine. We deal with a lot of products that deal with caffeine. But I was talking about a prescription drug that I got hooked onto. But this isn't prescription. This is off the shelf. We drink caffeine. We drink coffee. But there is decaf out there. People like to chase the taste. Fine. Taste is fine. But the thing is, we chase the effect. We chase the effect that we want so long. And when we're off of it, our body reacts, as you were talking about your reactions. My reactions when I had taken Tramadol and Motrin had left me dead to the world, literally. I mean, deadened, as in the nerves were feeling the shock of it. I had to get myself off the medication a little bit from time to time and take it when I need it, but not when I wanted it. Because the effect was that terrifying. When I could do things and injure myself and continue to work, that's scary. Because now I am without feeling and I am dead to the world. I am dead to everything, but I can still work my ass off. When I got injured, it did a lot of damage. And I ran out of Tramadol and Motrin and had to wait for a few days. I borrowed some of my brother's pain medications. He was on prescription Vicodin. It almost felt like the same way, except it was worse. I took a quarter of the milligrams my brother was taking just to get through the day. But I took it at home. And I have felt like I was a complete zombie. My head, my senses were buzzing. I was so loopy. They called it the chemical high, but that was worse than chemical highs I've had before. And this was a prescription my brother gave me, just a small portion of it. I wanted to take more of my own trimethyl Motrin because I didn't want to feel this way. The Vicodin damn near put me into a hospital, but made me lay down for a long while at home. I would sleep a hell of a lot longer because of that effect of it. It scared the hell out of me there, dude. But the trimethyl Motrin I would want to have because I didn't feel the pain. It took away the physical pain. But the nightmares? That's a different story altogether. The pills I was taking, prescription drugs, was going to be chasing away the physical aspects, but the psychological were there. The nightmares, the emotional impact of what the hell happened. That's terrifying. Because there I wanted it. But I knew that it was an addictive reaction. It's one thing wanting coffee all the time. But the problem is the body cannot deal with the caffeine effect. It also has something to do with affecting some of the body's reactions. More water is needed. The caffeine effect that I deal with coffee sucks it a lot. I have to constantly drink to keep myself from getting overloaded with coffee. But I don't do this on a constant basis. Some mornings I think I need the caffeine effect because I am so mentally and physically drained. Spiritually is a different story altogether. Spiritually, I'm not hooked into the thing. At least I'm trying not to tell myself that I am. But it's confusing as hell because when you go into recovery meetings, you see people bringing tea and you see them drinking coffee because they still want the effect that they're getting from the drugs and alcohol. Alcohol is a depressing. They need the caffeine to bypass that. And some of the drugs that they were taking during those days, when I was going to the meeting halls, they're dealing with a lot of stimulants. And part of the stimulants is also dealing with sugar. They'll be putting sugar in their coffee like crazy. No wonder it kept running out. Had to get going through their donations to get more coffee runs. More sugar, more cream. And in sugar, there is cream. Actually, in sugar, in cream, there is sugar. A flavoring of it. It shows you what kind of a screwed up morning this is going to be. But it was needed to hear your message, dude. Concerning about the gas cans, holy crap, they'll do anything on that one. Shit, they've been doing that for, what was it, years ago? Before I started hearing about this right now? Now it's the nitrous oxide, and it's going to be something worse down the road. It's like they got to find a new thing. They got to find a new high to fry out your brains. I'll tell you one thing. You've probably seen this commercial on the national chains back in the 80s, the 70s to 80s on this one. And there's been postings and memes about this one floating around on the internet. Picture a frying pan. Put grease or something in it. It's a hot frying pan. Then you see an egg plopped into it. And you hear it crackling and cooking. But a message. This is drugs, the hot frying pan. Put the egg into it. This is your brain on drugs. And then you see the uncooked egg turn into a solidified mass within seconds. Then the last line you hear is, any questions? That may have been oversimplification, but that is an accurate indication of how we are when it comes down for chemical abuse at this point, where we want the chemical, we want the pleasure center of our brains working on a constant basis because we don't want to deal with anything else unpleasant. What's unpleasant? The world, events, situations at home, situations in our life, the pains that we've accumulated throughout our existence, and for the pains that may happen down the road. As for mine, having an itchy back is not a pain unless I scratch at the skin and muscles and nerves hard enough that I will feel it. And it will hurt. Because I'm overstimulating the nerves and the muscle groups to where I start feeling the scraping of metal on my skin. And part of the physical manifestation of how much my body is saying, enough, is redness and possible breakage of the epidermal layer, our skin, to where it starts bleeding, or if you're on a particular spot, it might be oozing something out. If it's crusted, I'll scrape the damn thing off because it's itching. But there may be something oozing underneath. And that'll start up the itch. And that'll start up a chain reaction that I have to have more. The pleasure center is getting way overstimulated. However, my nerves are telling me one thing, and so is my body. My actions are on a constant basis. I need to do this because it's irritating me, and I must constantly do this thing. And it's still irritating me. I must dig into my skin until it starts bleeding red. And then some of the nerve endings surrounding it are still inflamed. They're still activated. Now what do I do? Because the urge and the absolute need, the absolute necessity to drive it off is there. The irritation is getting to me. It itches. It's stimulating, inflaming. It's creating effects that I cannot deal with. I must have more. So we're dealing with the physical to the emotional. But what about the spiritual, dude? We always known that this was also a three-pronged attack concerning about the damn disease, we call it. The physical, which I'm trying to adequately express, and it's not adequate enough for me. The emotional. Just what am I trying to dig and what am I trying to shovel out that's still there that I cannot dig further into the body to get rid of it? Because the emotional is not just in the heart, it's buried in the mind, in the neurons that we're storing our memories, both pleasant and unpleasant. Tragedy, death, things that happen that scare the hell out of us, or challenged us to a point where we can't even deal with it anymore. So we must find a way to drown out our sorrows. We must have our alcohol. We must have our caffeine. We must have our doctored liquids. We must have something physical to get into the system because we don't know any other way to get rid of this. We must get rid of this bad memory, this bad pain, this event, this loss, this grief. And in my situation, there's a lot of it. And for me, one of the only solutions I've got in my arsenal is what I'm doing right now. What am I doing right now, Darryl? I am communicating. I am talking. I am talking. I'm not trying to activate the pleasure centers that way. I'm trying to express what it is in a vocalized manner and trying to access portions of my brain that can communicate this in an effective way, hopefully in an effective way, that'll tell people what the story is. Convince myself I'm a storyteller. Therefore, I must find a way to communicate this to the outside world. I must communicate what's happening inside the neurons, and then what's happening with the memories, and then what's happening with the spirit, and putting it into a vocalized manner to say what happened, knowing that that it's still there, it's still locked in, and the pain is still there, and there's no physical way I can get to it. I can't scratch it out. I can't get that pain out. I can't drink enough of this. I can't do it. It's not a Canada Slugger is too lazy to try, as my grandmother would throw at me. No, it's there's no physical way to get rid of it. Unless, of course, there's going to be other drastic ways, and I'm not about to mention on this damn channel, that, but I will say, will end a life. My channel is the diary of a griever named John Weaver. I have dealt with death personally, and I have dealt with death indirectly. I hate it. I hate losing people I care about. I hate losing what I care deeply in my heart. For a long time, I thought it was just physical manifestations, pieces of crap we get. That we show off to people left and right. Look at my new pin. Look at my new item. Look, 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 look. I'm trying to get a reaction off of you folks, which will please me, which activates our pleasure center inside. But the problem is, how does it deal with the human soul in the first place? Shall we go into that next vid?